So thank you all for jumping on. I want to just kind of briefly I like to set the stage in the like kind of our vibe and our space right now with just like what we're going to do and what we're going to dive into. I think all of you guys watched that recording from Thursday night from Lisa Davis's, from that gal that was in the training in her, I don't know if you did, Rachel, but Rachel, I'll tag you in it.
Thank you.
It's really good. It's really good. I just love, I'm just like, you know, I'm like kind of, and you guys are this way too. Those of you that are on here, you're kind of like no BS, like just get the work done, take action. Like it doesn't work if you don't work. And so I've said this so many times, but like, I can't stress enough just like how important it is. And I tell myself this too, because lately I have been sort of just like all over the place with things, and we go through times of that. We're going to go through more times of that where life gets in the way, you fall off of your routine, you're not as productive as you've been last week or the week before or whatever, and your month just isn't quite going the way that you envisioned it would go, right? Because we try to plan, but at the end of the day, sometimes things are out of our control. And so the best thing we can do is just try to implement a system. So for example, today, like I'm thinking about things that I've already done for my business today. I've already sent out probably 25 invites to people that watched my stories, new people I've never talked to. So I did that. I've done 2 reels today, which is like a lot for me. I normally don't do that. I have posted in my group a couple times. I've connected with a lot of my leaders. What else have I done? I shared on my stories about my products and just kind of a brief tidbit about things. So anyway, so those are the things that I've done today. Today was kind of a more than usual day for working my business. And my point in telling you that is, it's like social media. And I'm actually going to get ready to do a training for our team for social media. I don't know for sure. I leave for Florida on Wednesday, but I'm going to try to do it tomorrow. Just go live in the team page and give some of my like best tips on social media, things that you can be doing, because it's just like your business. Social media is just like your business. You got to figure out what's going to work, because I'm over here still trying to figure it out and I ain't got it figured out. I go up in following and then I go down and I lose people, and I go up and I lose people, and then I just stay the same a lot of times. And that's how your business is. It's like the gal was talking on the video. I watched the end of her video today because I hadn't watched the end. And, she was like, this ain't gonna like just be this nonstop like up thing. Like you're gonna suck, and then you're gonna like figure it out a little bit, and then you're gonna suck. And it's not that you suck. It's just that you just need to figure it out, and you need to work and find a system that works and throw something else at the wall. And so that's kind of what I'm doing over here. And honestly, I've done it for 7 years. It's like things go really well in our whole team sometimes, and we feel like we're all together, we're connected, and we're working, and there's fire and energy. And then there's this time where it's like it seems like life's happening for everybody, nobody's really on the same page, and you wonder, does anybody even care like what we're doing? And people aren't responding in the way that they were, and all these things. And it just sort of can feel like you're not moving. But the one thing you can do to take care of that and to sort of, crush that feeling or conquer that, is to move forward in the best way that you know how to, which is consistency and implementing new things. So something that I'm going to encourage you guys to do, and something that I'm thinking about doing, and I'll talk about this on my social media training that I'm going to do, but something that's important is like, let's think ahead. And I know a lot of you guys are so good, better than I am. This is something that I struggle with, and it's nobody's fault or nothing other than just mine not doing it. It's scheduling posts for your group. It's awesome. It's awesome to have that post just coming out every day, so there's consistent behavior happening in your group. But then like, that you can throw something else in there if something comes about, like a new product or something you see that you are like, oh my gosh, I want to share that in my group. Then you can throw it up, or you can save it for later on that night. But we also know that just posting in our group every day isn't enough. Like, we know that if we just post in our group every single day and that's all we do. Now, yes, you might get an order here or there. You might get someone asking about something at some point, but for the most part, we know conversations are the bulk of the business. So when are those happening in your day? So that's important. When are the follow-ups happening? When are the reach outs happening? When are the conversations? Whether how many ever you're doing a day, whatever that is. Okay, so there's that piece. And then where are the like posts and the actual social media vulnerability, sharing your heart, earning trust, gaining trust by people? Where's that piece at? Because so often I see people, and we're not always going to be on. I give myself so much more grace than I ever used to with social media, because I do feel like it sort of wrecks my mental state sometimes. Not necessarily because of negativity or anything like that. It's just that it just overstimulates me a lot of times, and I find that I just need to kind of take a break, check out for just a minute or an hour or two or three or whatever that means for me. So my point is, not every day is going to look the same. Not every day of productivity is going to look the same, but how can you make it so that you're showing up in the best way that you can each and every single day? Instead of, and this is what I do a lot of times, instead of just kind of throwing like, okay, I need to do a reel today. Okay, let me just like, and then I scroll Instagram, right? And how much time do we waste? So much freaking time. Next time you catch yourself scrolling social media and you know that you have something else you need to do, because I'm going to tell you right now, scrolling social media isn't an income producing activity. It won't pay your bills, unfortunately. But it's easy to do, to get caught in that trap. So a lot of times, like today, it was like I was needing to do a reel, and it was like I found myself scrolling and it wasn't working. It wasn't doing anything for me. And I just was like, okay, like Tabitha, you need to stop, and you need to get like laser focused on what you need to do instead of allowing all the distractions. So because so many of us are working full-time jobs. We have jobs at home we're doing, we have kids, we have this and that. And if you let distractions, it's just like, so often there's advocates and even just like people I talk to every day, and they're like, oh, I'm just so busy right now and this and that. And I'm just like, the busy thing just blows my mind. Like, I get it, but I know you guys feel this way too. We're all busy. I mean, I built a solid business around a full-time job with little bitty kids, and it was a lot. It was a lot. But I wouldn't trade it because it got me where I am, and it's incredible what we can do. And it's incredible what we can do together. So now's the time to really dig in. We know that, but like Black Friday's coming, and I know it's just still a little bit away, but like it's so important. What we do now is going to affect and impact the month we have in November. I just believe it. I talked to a couple uplines lately, and it was cool what they had to say, what they said they pulled with their numbers, and kind of just like what is possible. And I'm just excited. So I want you guys to have an incredible September. I want you to have an incredible October, but I also really just want you to maximize on your November, and just blow it out of the water. So it just does all the things for your holidays and helps you in every way that, you kind of have in your vision. So, all right. So first thing we're going to do is, I like to do this to start out the power hour. I want you to just like, we're just going to take 10 minutes, and I want you to get into whatever it is that you need to get into. Like if you're finishing up, you have a conversation going right now, you want to kind of like hone in on, or you want to post in your group today because you haven't did that, or you want to check in with so-and-so, or you remembered you hadn't followed up with her, or you want to like post. And I'm going to give you guys a post idea here in a little bit. So keep that in mind. So let's just take 10 minutes. I'll set my timer, and I want you to kind of just like get in your vibe of like your work mode, whatever that means. Okay. Does that help? Ready, set. Okay, go. I'm going to mute because I'm just going to keep it quiet because music kind of distracts me and it messes with my internet. So I'm going to keep it quiet. Okay, I think it's been about 10 minutes. Okay, so next thing I have on our list, that I know that I've been a little bit better, but I really need to take time to focus on is really invite to events, like find hosts for events. So I'd like to take the next like 10 minutes and try to send invites, at least like try to invite 5 people if you can, to like either you're talking to someone and you need to lock in the date, or you're like just inviting customers that have loved their product and are buying or whatever to possibly do an event. I'm actually having my first messenger event on it's after I get back next week. So like I'm gonna try it over the weekend. I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm gonna try it for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then close the party Monday as I'm gonna try to close the party Sunday, but you know how that goes. So I'm gonna kind of set the bar that I'm closing on Sunday, but then Monday I'm actually gonna like see if we can get some stragglers in there. Um, did you have a question, Rachel?
Yeah, I was just wondering, and I may be jumping ahead here, but can you, I do not look for hosts. I will admit that I feel like I've been so focused. And I think we've talked about this a bit that I'm trying to focus more on sharing the business, but I feel like I've been really focused on just trying to get product in people's hands. And then once I do, I'm typically just kind of following up on like, hey, like, how are you liking the product? Da, 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 yada, yada. So I don't really feel confident in the language aspect when it comes to like, I feel like I have it down when it comes to doing an invite when it comes to, hey, do you want to try Crunchy or do you want more info on Crunchy? But can you share some language recommendations for stepping into that like mode of asking for a host? I don't know. I want to find more hosts. And I think the other piece of it is I'd love to hear more about how you're doing this messenger event because I feel, well, I get this feeling that people are starting to get very tired and like so last year kind of feeling when it comes to doing these Facebook parties. And I'll be honest, like I don't like them either. So I feel like if I don't like them, that's gonna show
Yeah.
and just kind of reflect in my attitude and how I do things. So I'd like some more information on
Yeah.
that too.
So I think I'm with you as far as like online parties aren't my jam. That's why I haven't had one in months. So I want to like say first and foremost, like Catherine Jarrett said it herself, you don't have to have these parties to be successful. Did Catherine have them more at the beginning of her business? Probably. And now she doesn't really necessarily have to have them. But something that I'm noticing, because you're right, like and here's what we do. This is what I think that I've noticed in the past about recruiting. We place it in like these 3 categories. It's like, okay, we're trying to get customers. We're just trying to get product in people's hands. And then you're trying to invite to the advocate opportunity. So you're like, shoot, okay, now I need to invite people to that. And then you're like, okay, crap, I don't have any hosts. Now I need to invite people to that. And we're almost making this be like 3 separate categories in which they really don't need to be. It's kind of like, does this person want product? Okay, if they do, let's that's the first object. I think even like today I'm talking to 2 different people about the advocate opportunity, but I'm sort of like encouraging them to maybe try product before they just sign up, because not that they're not going to like the product, but I feel like I've maybe brought some people in that in the last 6 months that they don't go anywhere, and I'm like, okay, I'd rather them just stay a customer and buy the product. But anyways, so so in talking with them, it's like then you're going to know how to direct them. I think we kind of briefly talked about this, but it's almost like if they're like, oh my gosh, like they start telling you about how they love clean living and they do this and that, then you're like, oh my gosh, you would perfectly align with this advocate opportunity now. So you've kind of veered off, and now you're talking about the advocate opportunity because maybe, just maybe, they're going to be incredible and this is going to trip their trigger and they want to like go straight into this. Okay, but we pretty much know that most people aren't going to have a party for us unless they've tried the product, typically, unless they're just super motivated and they want to earn some product, whatever. But most likely they're not going to have a party unless they've tried the product. So I feel like but here's the thing that I'm noticing. So I want to try to, like, I'm sending invites and I'm having conversations and I'm working hard to do that, but I want to like work not as hard. So I want to create this host who's going to hopefully be like motivated and get like, it would be incredible, right? That's why I'm always like live parties, live events. They're insane because you can pretty much bet that you're going to get like, if you have a handful of people, you're probably going to have like a 650 to
Yeah.
750 to 1,000 party.
I mean, my best event so far in this last year and a half is the one that I had last month.
Mhm.
And that was in person. And there were only 3 people there. And
Yeah.
that was my best event.
Yeah.
All my other events on Facebook, and I don't know if maybe it's partly me, but I mean, everything is laid out. So it's not like I'm missing a post or anything like that, but they flop a lot of the time. So I'm like, there's got to be something different or new that's going to entice people to want to do this, not feel like they have to do all this work, but still kind of be in control of getting people there. So it's not just all on us.
Right. But that's
Yeah.
what's nice is like last month you had this like, 500 and whatever, 500-ish party that you were able to put on your month along with your hard work. So it's just like, it's like sometimes I'm like, Tabitha, what are you doing? Because even though, so that's why I'm like, I'm with you. I don't really care for the Facebook parties per se. That's why I'm like, let's try something different. And I'm going to try this messenger thread, which is honestly just like giving them a link and saying, here, share this with your friends and like, see if they'd like to use these products and like challenge that person. I'm challenging my host. I haven't decided how I'm going to do this because I've never done one. So it's new for me. I'm going to try to just learn as I go and think of creative ways because I like to make it short. I'm almost wondering if 3 days is I'm almost wondering if I just need 2 days of information in the messenger thread instead of 3, because, and then I don't know, I'll think about it. But my point is that you could also just, give them a link like we've talked before where they just share the link. And I've had a few,
And I've done that too. And
but it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
And it's going to just be the luck of the draw on your host. I think it comes down to your host. And if they give a shit, excuse my language, about whether or not they get orders. Like some people are going to be like, yeah, like I have a girl this girl that's doing the messenger. She's like, well, I've had parties in the past and they just don't work and nobody wants anything. And I just don't want to be pushy. And I'm like she's not even joining the business. And she's like, I just don't want to be pushy, which is fine. So who knows how this is going to go. But I think that it's so important to figure out, for us to figure out and collaborate and have ideas and brainstorm, and whether or not we do something together, that's an option too. But like, we got to get creative in the way that if a live event's not an option, because it's not for some people, especially if we're out of state, then we've got to figure out, okay, how can we get some orders from people without.
I mean, I've even thought about there's got to be a way to do something like this on Instagram. Like I've thought about that and I feel like I don't see a lot of that going on Instagram. And like, is there a way to do something like that over there? But then I've kind of let that thought fall off a little bit because I feel like I didn't really get anyone that was really interested in brainstorming it with me, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But I've thought about that too, because, everyone is so used to getting all these Facebook invites. And like Lauren just said here, like half the time people don't accept the request or they don't see it, they miss it or whatever. And I feel like Instagram has become such a hot spot that why aren't we also utilizing that in some way? Like, I don't know, creating a private account that's specifically for the party, or I don't know. I'm just spewing stuff out, but
we did that with Beachbody actually. We had like a coach life page and it was only for the opportunity, but we would just simply, we would do IGTVs. So like that day or that 24 hours, some people would be responsible for posting on stories, and then people would be responsible for like watching the like stuff. But to me, I'm just like, again, to me, it seems complicated because of people like having to follow the account and all of that. I'm just like, that makes my brain that was was Lindsay's idea and it worked okay, but it made my brain explode. But I love but I'm with you, Rachel. There's got to be another maybe way, and maybe something will come about where Instagram will start something because you know how it is, and they'll come out with something new that
Yeah.
will really change the game for us with parties. Um, but I love the sample idea, Lauren, because Lauren's upline, Kathy, she has these sample parties, and they've been so incredible. And basically, you just send out samples to the first 10 people in the party that respond that they want them. And so you kind of got to have it done a little bit early, but so that they can get the samples in time for the party to start. So I would like to run one of those because I've not done one. But then of course there's samples too. And I did send out a couple of those the other day. So that kind of made me feel a little productive, even though you never know with those either. Um, so I actually will tag you, Rachel, because Kathy went live in our team page and it was a really good in-depth video on how those are run. She's done several and she's like had this weird thing where it was like she had a party for someone and that party led to this other girl and then that girl led to like it was this rabbit hole of people that she was kind of getting orders from, which was cool, and they were hosting for her. Um so let's go ahead and just like throw out a few conversations, whether that's people that have purchased from you. It's really needs to be people that purchase from you. I mean, unless it's a family member who's just like willing to help you out or a friend who's willing to help you out. Um, I feel like it kind of needs to be somebody who's tried the products, you know? So I'm gonna like work on that and let's do that for like about 10 minutes and then we're gonna work on like follow-ups and invites, okay? Okay, let's maybe move forward from that. Does anybody feel like they had any good conversations there? I need to like really look into I followed up with the one girl that's supposed to have a live party for me, but I really need to dig in with some of that. But I want to continue on since we only have about 15 minutes because I really don't want to keep you guys longer than that. So you're welcome to finish up what you're doing, but let's move into invites and follow-ups and let's take the last like 12 minutes, 13 minutes or so for invites and follow-ups since of course they're really the most important. They're really the what's actually gonna like give people that extra nudge to potentially purchase or like for me right now, I'm about to do my drawing for my half off items. So I'm using that as like that kind of urgency to get them to maybe like think about placing an order. So let's do that for the next few minutes and then I'm going to give you guys a post idea. Okay. Hopefully you guys got out some invites and follow-ups and all the things. So two things. I want you guys, I'm just encouraging you, just giving you a post idea. Hopefully this is helpful. Um, you could take this a couple different ways. I feel like reflecting is so good when you post, because when you reflect and think about who you were like before you knew or realized or believed that there was more to your life than your current whatever situation, but you believe that there was more for you and you had a bigger vision for yourself, right? And I don't care how many times you've already maybe shared about this, because the fact of the matter is you probably don't share about it enough, because we just tend to not share about this topic as much. I think because it could be judged, right? Or it could be perceived, or it could be whatever. But so what I have wrote down is I want you guys in some way, I encourage you to post like a post about life before you believed you could, like before you realized there was more for you. And that can come out in different ways. It doesn't have to be straight just like that, but maybe you're gonna really reflect when we get off of here and think about like what was the shift? What was the shift that changed it for you, that made you realize, or that solidified, or that just added so much more belief into you that you could do this? Because it's not necessarily, for me a lot of times it's been like taking action and having some success that leads me to realizing, okay, like if I did that, right, if I made x amount of money, or I reached this goal, or I did whatever, then why can't I do more and keep going? So think about that, put it with a picture, post it in the morning, post it tonight, whatever. If you can get it together tonight, it might get more traction tonight than it will tomorrow, but that's okay if you need to wait to get a picture. And then the other thing I want you guys to do, and I would love if you would send it to me, is I would love if you, like, we're literally almost halfway through the month. So tomorrow's the 14th. So this is a short month. So we are at like the halfway point pretty much. So we really need to kick it. I'm telling this to myself as well. Like I'm kicking it into high gear, as far as just leveling up with things that I want to do, things that I want to implement, because we know how fast time goes. So I'd love if you guys all sent me just like a real quick thing of like your goals for the end of the month, whether that's like getting someone to host a party to end the month strong, whether that's an income goal, whether that's just being consistent with doing something every single day and saying like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm committing to the next like 16 days that I'm going to do whatever you're going to do. And maybe you want to like write out, and maybe you guys already have something like this, but maybe you want to write out like each day what part of social media success and part of business success and all things that we want to accomplish is just literally writing down like each day. Okay, so you want to, this end goal is this for September 30th, right? You want to end at this rank, or you want to have this much in sales or whatever. So what's it got to look like? How do you reverse engineer throughout the whole month to make sure that that happens? And if you stay on track, which we all get off track and it's okay, but if we try to do our best to stay on track and we actually have like a plan to follow, it's incredible where we can be. Because I know Rachel and I have had this conversation. I've probably shared this before, but it's like if you can wake up in a blah mentality of like, "Ugh, I'm tired, I just feel no motivation, I feel no inspiration." But when you take action and just do it because you just need to, and you know you're going to be better for it, you always feel, typically, not always, but a lot of times when you do a post and you put your heart out there and somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I needed to hear that." What does that do for your confidence and your mood? Immediately boosts it, because you're doing what you set out to do, which was have an impact on people's lives. So if you're struggling, if you're feeling lack of motivation, turn it around and see how you can impact somebody's life with whatever, with your words, with your energy. And that will typically turn everything around, and it will instill more belief in you, and it will confirm like why you're doing this and why you're needed and why so many people need you and why they need this opportunity. So I hope this was super helpful for you guys. I'm going to post the recording, continue on if you can tonight or want to, um but yeah, let's like really I can't wait to see your goals, and let's make the end of the month amazing. Yes, dinner time over there on the West Coast. Okay, you're welcome. All right, good night, you guys.